All right, there we go. As we're live. And indeed, I think we are. All right, this is the Toldot Torah portion. In Genesis 25, verse 19, it says, and this is the genealogy of Yitzhak, Abraham's son. Abraham brought forth Yitzhak, and Yitzhak was 40 years old when he took Rivkah, or Rebekah, as wife, or as his woman, the daughter of Bethuel, the Aramean of Padan Aram, the sister of Laban the Aramean. And Yitzhak prayed to Yahweh for his wife because she was barren, and Yahweh answered his prayer. And Ribkah his wife conceived, and within her the children struggled together. And she said, if all is right, why am I this way? Or if all is okay, why am I thus? As the King James says. So she went to ask Yahweh. She inquired of the Most High. Yahweh said to her, two nations are in your womb, and two peoples shall be separated from your body. And one people shall be stronger than the other, and the older serve the younger. This is a prophetic answer. It says, and when the days were filled for her to give birth, and see, twins were in her womb. The first came out red all over, like a hairy garment. So they called his name Esau. And afterward his brother came out with his hand holding on to Esau's heel. So his name was called Jacob, or Jacob. And Yitzhak was 60 years old when she bore them. And the boys grew up, and Esau became a man knowing how to hunt, a man of the field, while Jacob was a complete man, dwelling in tents. And Yitzhak loved Esau because he ate of his wild game, but Rebekah, loved Jacob. And Jacob cooked a stew, and Esau came in from the field, and he was weary. And Esau said to Jacob, please feed me with that same red stew, for I am weary. That is why his name was called Edom. But Jacob said, sell me your birthright today. And Esau said, look, I am going to die, so why should I have birthright? Then Jacob said, swear to me today. And he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. Jacob then gave Esau bread and stew of lentils, and he ate and drank and rose up and left. Thus Esau despised his birthright. So we have the genealogy going through Isaac, or at least the initial start of it, uh, to Esau and Jacob. We see a prophecy being stated, which is that the older shall serve the younger. Esau was born first, and Jacob was born second. They were twins, but obviously Esau was born first. And Jacob came out holding his heel. So, again, a little bit of prophecy. It's stated that um, Esau was born red and hairy, with hair all over. And that Jacob was a complete man. So, firstly, Jacob means heel catcher or supplanter. And Esau, or Asal, means, I'm trying to see this, rough. Yeah, rough, which would explain the hairiness. Anyways, um, and it says he was a complete man. Um, word is Tom, which means pious or gentle, or specifically gentle, etc., etc. Then we get to the next little portion. They grew up. Obviously, Esau is the man knowing how to hunt, and Isaac loved him for that, as would be typical of any uh, father. You have a man that knows how to hunt, brings you delicacies from the field. But Esau comes in from hunting, and Jacob's eating a stew, and Esau's just tired at that point and says, "Please give me some of the stew, the red stew that you're um, eating." And Jacob says, "Give it to me for your birthright." Esau says, "What am I going to do with my birthright?" This is a good explanation of why instant gratification is not always a good thing. Actually, in most cases, it's not. We live in a very fast-paced society these days that would be contrary to that, but we see here he wanted the instant gratification of some stew, and he was willing to train or trade his birthright for that. Him being the firstborn, we see later on in Deuteronomy that the firstborn is given the birthright, and regardless of whether it's from a first wife or second wife, third wife, whoever is the firstborn son gets the birthright because he is the picture of his father's vitality. He's his father's strength. But here we see Esau traded that birthright and later probably regret that, but he traded it for stew of all things. So, anyways, we continue on to 26. It says, "And there was a scarcity of food in the land, besides the first scarcity of food, which was in the days of Abraham. And Yitzhak went to Abimelech, sovereign of the Philistines, in Gerar. And Yahweh appeared to him and said, Do not go down to Mitzrayim. Live in the land which I command you. Sojourn in this land. And I shall be with you and bless you. For I give all these lands to you and your seed, and I shall establish the oath which I swore to Abraham your father, and I shall increase your seed like the stars of the heavens, and I shall give all these lands to your seed, and in your seed all the nations of the earth shall be blessed, because Abraham obeyed my voice, guarded my charge, my commands, my laws, and my Torah, or Torah, plural of Torah. And Yitzhak went in, or dwelt in Gerar. And when the men of the place asked about his wife, he said, She is my sister. For he was afraid to say, She is my wife, thinking, lest the men of the place should kill me for Rebecca, because she is good looking. And it came to be, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, sovereign of the Philistines, looked through a window, and he watched and saw Yitzhak playing with Rivkah his wife. So Abimelech called Yitzhak and said, See, truly she is your wife. So how could you say she is my sister? And Yitzhak said to him, Because I said, Lest I die on account of her. And Abimelech said, What is this you have done to us? One of the people had almost lain with your wife, and you would have brought guilt on us. And Abimelech commanded all his people, saying, He who touches this man or his wife shall certainly be put to death. And Yitzhak sowed in that land, reaped in the same year 100-fold, and Yahweh blessed him. And the man grew great and went forward until he became very great. And he came to have possessions of flocks and possessions of herds and a great body of servants. And the Philistines envied him. And the Philistines had stopped up the wells, or all the wells, which his father's servants had dug in the days of Abraham his father, and filled them with dirt. And Abimelech said to Yitzhak, Go away from us, for you are much mightier than we. So Yitzhak went from there and pitched his tent in the Wadi Gerar, and dwelt there. Yitzhak dug again the wells of water which they had dug in the days of Abraham his father, for the Philistines had stopped them up after the death of Abraham. And he called them by the names which his father had called them. But when Yitzhak's servant dug in the wadi and found a well of running water there, the herdsmen of Gerar strove with Yitzhak's herdsmen, saying, The water is ours. And he called the name of the well Esek, because they strove with him. And they dug another well, and they strove over that one too. And he called its name Sitnah. And he moved from there and dug another well, and they did not strive over it. And he called its name Rehoboth, and said, For now Yahweh has made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. And from there he went up to Beersheba, and Yahweh appeared to him the same night, and said, I am the Elohim of your father Abraham. Do not fear, for I am with you, and shall bless you, and increase your seed for my servant Abraham's sake. Pause there. This is the second time that's said something to that effect in this passage. Isaac's being blessed for his father's sake. This is Torah all through and through. When you obey the commands of the Most High, when you walk in His laws, His Torah, then your children will be blessed. That's if ever you needed a reason to follow the law, if you love your children, you should walk in God's law, because that's how they will be blessed. And that same story is followed through and through all the way through the Tanakh. When you love your children, the best way to prove that or show that is not by buying them fancy things or doing whatever this and that for them. It's literally by following the law of the Most High. And then, again, part of that is training them or teaching them that very same law. So, anyways, it says, And he built a slaughter place there, and called on the name of Yahweh. He pitched his tent there, and the servants of Yitzhak dug a well there. And Abimelech came to him from Gerar with Ahuzath, one of his friends, and Pikol, the commander of his army. And Yitzhak said to them, Why have you come to me, seeing you have hated me and have sent me away from you? But they said, We have clearly seen that Yahweh is with you. And we said, Please let there be an oath between us, between you and us, and let us make a covenant with you, that you do no evil to us, as we have not touched you, and as we have done only good toward you, and have sent you away in peace. You are now blessed by Yahweh. And he made them a feast, and they ate and drank. And they rose early in the morning and swore an oath with one another. And Yitzhak let them go. They departed from him in peace. And on the same day it came to be that the servants of Yitzhak came and informed him about the well which they had dug, and said to him, We have found water. So he called it Sheba. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba today, or to this day. And when Esau was 40 years old, he took as wives Judith, the daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and Basemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. And they were a bitterness of spirit to Yitzhak and Ribkah. Which that goes directly back to Abraham. Abraham made Eleazar, who we can suppose is Eleazar, swear an oath that he would go and get a wife for Isaac from his own people, not the Hittites, not Canaanites, not the Hittites, not any of the ites, but specifically going back to his people from the land of of the Chaldees. And he did just that. That's where Rebecca came from. So the fact that Esau did not do that was bitterness to his father Isaac and Rebekah. Again, we see the same striving with Abimelech. Remember, Abraham encountered Abimelech, and there was the same story told. She is my sister. Isaac followed in his father's footsteps, did exactly the same thing, said, she is my sister. And Abimelech seen said, no, she is your wife. Why did you tell us this? Remember again, Abraham, same thing happened with him. He said, well, if I had have said it was my wife, I figured you guys would kill me and take my wife. They drove him away. The Philistines drove him away. Then came and made a covenant with him. We'll go to chapter 27. It says, and it came to be when Yitzhak was old and his eyes were too dim to see, that he called Esau, his elder son, and said to him, my son. And he answered him, here I am. And he said, see now, I am old. I do not know the day of my death. Now then, please take your weapons, your quiver and your bow, and go out to the field and hunt wild game for me, and make me a tasty dish, such as I love, and bring it to me to eat, in order that my being does bless you before I die. And Rivkah heard when Yitzhak spoke to Esau his son. And Esau went to the field to hunt wild game and to bring it. Rivkah spoke to Jacob her son, saying, see, I heard your father speak to Esau your brother, saying, bring me wild game and make me a tasty dish to eat, and bless you in the presence of Yahweh before my death, sorry, before my dish. Anyways, and now, my son, listen to my voice according to what I command you. Please go to the flock and bring me 2 choice young goats, and I make a tasty dish from them for your father, such as he loves. And you shall take it to your father, and he shall eat it, so that he might bless you before his death. And Jacob said to Rivkah, his mother, see, Esau, my brother, is a hairy man. I am a smooth-skinned man. What if my father touches me? Then I shall be like a deceiver in his eyes, and shall bring a curse on myself, and not a blessing. But his mother said to him, let your curse be on me, my son. Only obey my voice, and go, get them for me. And he went and fetched them, and brought them to his mother. And his mother made a tasty dish, such as his father loved. And Rivkah took the best garments of her elder son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them on Jacob, her younger son. And she put the skins of the young goats on his hands and on the smooth part of his neck. Then she gave the tasty dish and the bread, which she had prepared, into the hand of her son Jacob. And he went to his father and said, my father. And he said, here am I. Or here I am. Who are you, my son? And Jacob said to his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you said to me. Please rise, sit, and eat of my wild game, so that your being might bless me. But Yitzhak said to his son, how is it that you have found it so quickly, my son? And he said, because Yahweh your Elohim brought it to me. Then Yitzhak said to Jacob, please come near, so that I feel you, my son, whether you are truly my son, Esau, or not. I think he's got some suspicions. Probably hears his voice and is like, I don't think you're Esau. And Jacob went near to Yitzhak, his father, and he felt him and said, the voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he did not recognize him, for his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands, and he blessed him. And he said, are you truly my son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, bring it near to me, and let me eat of my son's wild game, so that my being might bless you. So he brought it near to him, and he ate, and he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Yitzhak said to him, please come near me, or near, and kiss me, my son. So he came near and kissed him. And he smelled the smell of his garments, and blessed him, and said, See, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field which Yahweh has blessed. And Elohim give you of the dew of the heavens, of the fatness of the earth, and plenty of grain and wine. Let peoples serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be master over your brothers, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be those cursing you, and blessed be those blessing you. Again, that's the same thing that the Most High said to Abraham. Bless those who bless you, and curse those who curse you. He's passing this down to Jacob now. And it came to be, as soon as Yitzhak had finished blessing Jacob, and Jacob had hardly left the presence of Yitzhak his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he too had made a tasty dish, and brought it to his father, and said to his father, Let my father rise and eat of his son's wild game, so that your being might bless me. And his father Yitzhak said to him, Who are you? And he said, I am your son, your firstborn, Esau. Then Yitzhak trembled exceedingly, and said, Who was it then who hunted wild game and brought it to me? And I ate all of it before you came, and I have blessed him. Yes, he is blessed. When Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with an exceedingly great and bitter cry, and said to his father, Bless me too, O my father. And he said, Your brother came with deceit and took your blessing. And Esau said, Was his name then called Jacob? For he has caught me by the heel these 2 times. He took my birthright, and see, now he has taken my blessing. And he said, Have you not reserved a blessing for me? Then Yitzhak answered and said to Esau, See, I have made him your master, and all his brothers I have given to him as servants, and I have sustained him with grain and wine. And what then shall I do for you, my son? And Esau said to his father, Have you only one blessing, my father? Bless me too, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Yitzhak his father answered and said to him, See, your dwelling is of the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of the heavens from above. And by your sword you are to live, and serve your brother. And it shall be, when you grow restless, that you shall break his yoke from your neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing which his father had blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father draw near. Then I am going to kill my brother Jacob. And the words of Esau, her older son, were reported to Ribkah, and she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said to him, See, your brother Esau comforts himself concerning you, to kill you. And now, my son, listen to my voice, and rise, flee to my brother Laban in Haran, and stay with him a few days until your brother's wrath turns away, until your brother's displeasure turns away from you, and he forgets what you have done to him. And I shall send and bring you from there. Why should I be bereaved of you both in one day? And Ribkah said to Yitzhak, I am disgusted with my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob takes a wife from the daughters of Heth, like these who are the daughters of the land, what is my life to me? Few things there. Firstly, everything played out exactly as it was intended. Remember that the Most High said that the younger, or was it the older will serve the younger? That's exactly what happened. That was exactly how it played out. There's some extra biblical texts that state that God spoke to Rebecca concerning this matter, and that's why she had done what she did. I mean, either way, I think it's justified in the text. It was literally stated right there in 25. It says, Yahweh said to her, 2 nations are in your womb. 2 nations, or 2 people shall be separated from your body. 1 people shall be stronger than the other, and the older serve the younger. The older was Esau. I think that's why everything played the way that it did. Then she sends him away back to Laban, which we'll see how that goes. She says specifically that Esau married daughters of the nations around him. She doesn't want Jacob to marry any of the daughters of Heth. So we move to the last chapter, or the last few verses, I should say, because it's not the entire chapter, but chapter 28. It says, And Yitzhak called Jacob and blessed him, and commanded him, and said to him, Do not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. Here we go again. Arise, go to Padan Aram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take a wife for yourself from there, from the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. And El Shaddai bless you, and make you fruitful, and increase you, and you shall become an assembly of peoples, and give your blessing of Abraham to you and your seed with you, so that you inherit the land of your sojournings, which Elohim gave to Abraham. So Yitzhak sent Jacob away, and he went to Padan Aram to Laban, son of Bethuel the Aramean, the brother of Ribkah, the mother of Jacob and Esau. And Esau saw that Yitzhak had blessed Jacob, and sent him away to Padan Aram to take himself a wife from there. And that as he blessed him, he gave him a command, saying, Do not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. And that Jacob had obeyed his father and his mother, and had gone to Padan Aram. So Esau saw that the daughters of Canaan did not please his father Yitzhak. And Esau went to Ishmael, and took Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebaioth, to be his wife, besides the wives he had. That's the end of the Torah part of this portion. So again, it was not good to take a wife from the daughters of the surrounding area. So he goes and gets one from Ishmael. Meanwhile, Jacob goes to Laban. And we'll see how that plays out next week. Now we'll go ahead and read the half Torah portion, which is 1 Samuel chapter 20. Shemuel Aleph, verse 18 through verses 42, which is the end. So it says, So Jonathan said to him, Tomorrow is the new moon, and you shall be missed, because your seat shall be empty. And on the third day, go down quickly, and you shall come to the place where you hid on the day of the deed, and shall remain by the stone Stell. And let me shoot 3 arrows to the side of it, as though shooting at a target. And see, I shall send the youth, saying, Go, find the arrows. If I expressly say to the youth, Look, the arrows are on this side of you, get them and come. Then as Yahweh lives, there is safety for you and no concern. But if I say thus to the youth, Look, the arrows are beyond you, go your way, for Yahweh has sent you away. And as for the word which you and I have spoken of, see, Yahweh is between you and me forever. And David hid in the field, and when the new moon came, the sovereign sat down by the food to eat. This is Saul, Shaul. And the sovereign sat on his seat, as at other times, on a seat by the wall, with Jehonathan Jonathan standing, and Abner sitting by Shaul's side, but the place of David was empty. David. But Shaul spoke not a word that day, for he thought, it is an accident. He is not clean, for he has not been cleansed. And it came to be the next day, the second day of the new moon, that David's seat was empty. And Shaul said to Jehonathan, his son, why has the son of Yishai, Jesse, not come to eat, either yesterday or today? And Jehonathan said, or answered Shaul, David earnestly asked my permission to go to Bethlehem. And he said, please let me go, for our clan has a slaughtering in the city, and my brother has commanded me to be there. And now, if I have found favor in your eyes, please let me get away and see my brothers. That is why he has not come to the sovereign's table. Then the displeasure of Shaul burned against Jonathan, and he said to him, you son of a perverse, rebellious woman, do I not know that you have chosen the son of Yishai to your own shame and to the shame of your mother's nakedness? For as long as the son of Yishai lives on the earth, you shall not be established, you and your reign. And now send and bring him to me, for he is a son of death. And Jonathan answered Saul, his father, and said to him, why should he be put to death? What has he done? At that, Shaul hurled a spear at him to smite him. And Jonathan knew that his father had resolved to put David to death. And Jonathan rose up from the table in the heat of displeasure, and ate no food the second day of the new moon, for he was grieved for David, because his father put him to shame. And it came to be in the morning that Jonathan went out into the field at the time appointed with David, and a small youth was with him. And he said to the youth, now run, find the arrows which I shoot. As the youth ran, he shot an arrow beyond him. And when the youth came to the place where the arrow was, which Jonathan had shot, Jonathan called out after the youth and said, is not the arrow beyond you? And Jonathan shouted after the youth, make haste, hurry, do not stand still. And Jonathan's youth picked up the arrows and came to his master. But the youth knew not a speck. Only Jonathan and David knew of this matter. Then Jonathan gave his weapons to the youth and said to him, go, take them to the city. And as soon as the youth had gone, David rose up from the south side and fell on his face to the ground and bowed down 3 times. And they kissed one another, and they wept together, but David more so. Jonathan said to David, go in peace, since we have both sworn in the name of Yahweh, saying, Yahweh is between you and me, and between your seed and my seed forever. Then he arose and left, and Jonathan went into the city. And that was the half Torah portion. Now we will read from the Brit Hadashah, the New Testament, Matthew 24, verses 29 through 36. And it says, and immediately after the distress of those days, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give its light, and the stars shall fall from the heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken, and then the sign of the Son of Adam shall appear in the heaven. And then all the tribes of the earth shall mourn, and they shall see the Son of Adam coming on the clouds of the heaven with power and much esteem. And he shall send his messengers with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his chosen ones from the 4 winds, from one end of the heavens to the other. And learn this parable from the fig tree. When its branch has already become tender and puts forth leaves, you know that the summer is near. So you also, when you see all these, know that he is near, at the doors. Truly, I say to you, this generation shall by no means pass away until all this takes place. The heaven and the earth shall pass away, but my words shall by no means pass away. But concerning that day and the hour, no one knows, not even the messengers of the heavens, but my Father only. And with that, that concludes our bit of Torah portion. Thank you guys for participating.